All right, lead generation and qualification, the first step in building a pipeline. So let's talk about that. Where you can find prospects. The easiest and the quickest way to get a bunch of leads is not necessarily the best, and that is through a purchase list. A purchase list is generally gathering information that you could get on your own. The purchase list have been gathered from the local building permits that have been issued, liquor licenses that have been issued or applied for or sold. They're purchased. These lists that are gathered are just gathered from information that you can get from your local authorities. I used to go to the state website and get the liquor licenses that were purchased. I used to do that on my own without purchasing a list. I would actually physically go to the county and city governments and look for the building permits that were issued. I would get them before these purchase lists were created. But if you wish to purchase a list, just know that they're old by the time you get them. Your competition has already gotten them as well as you. So if you are not calling that list immediately, as in right now, you're probably too late and your competition is already in there. So the last thing is they're mostly new businesses. Now you say, well, that's a good thing because they got to buy something. Well, it's also a bad thing in that they're probably not going to have as much money as an established business. They're on a really tight, just get open budget. And with the competition in there, you might also have to heavily discount to get the sale. And what we're finding also is that they are generally, in a lot of cases, let me say not generally, but in a lot of cases, they're getting their point of sale when they open up their bank account. And you know what I'm talking about. So a purchase leads list is not as valuable as it might appear. Let's look at some other alternatives. The most expensive type of lead list is trade shows. Those things cost a lot of money. Booth space, time off from work, equipment costs, setting things up. It's an expensive place to go to get a few leads. But they're better than a purchase list, just a lot more expensive. Thing is, your competition is probably in the same building with you, and they're probably getting the same lead that you are. The good news is you got to meet the buyer face to face. You were able, or you should be able to do some qualifications there. You should be able to say how long you've been open. Are you the owner? Are you the decision maker? What are you looking to do? What needs do you have? So you're going to qualify that prospect right there on the trade show floor. So this does give you the opportunity to make some inroads and make that first impression. So this one is better than a purchase list. It's just a lot more expensive. Online leads are where a lot of customers are going. They are now doing searches online way before they contact you. Your web presence is critical. It is something that has to be done, it has to be done right, and it can't just be a site under construction. You have got to have a good web presence. We have some dealers who have done well with this. We have some that rank extremely well, and they're doing really well through their online services, online sites. Thing is, your competition has them too, and it's based upon your SEO tags is where you rank. If you're not on that first page, you're probably not getting the leads that you would like to have. So you have to have good search engine optimization. Good news is they're probably going to buy something. If they're out doing the search, they are probably a qualified lead and they're going to buy something. Your SEO or search engine optimization is a must. You can purchase this, you can buy this, you can pay for somebody to come in and do it yourself, or you can take time and learn how to do it. If this is something that you need help with, contact myself or Jeff Moore, and either of us can help you do the SEO work and show you where to go to do that. We won't do it for you, but we'll show you how. You need to have targeted landing pages for all the cities in your geographical area. I'm not going to name names, but I have a dealer who has done this so well that he has landing pages for all major markets within 8 hours of his operation. And he ranks in the top 3 of every one of those cities, and sometimes the number 1 ranking ahead of the local dealers. So create your landing pages, make them targeted, make them specific. If you're wanting to rank high for restaurant, point of sale systems, comma, and then your city, then you need to have a landing page that ranks well for that particular specific word. Have your targeted landing pages, and then have fresh content. Usually something every other week to monthly is considered good enough for us in our industry. And then you have to be able to convert visitors to leads. Just having a contact us page at the bottom of, or a link at the bottom of your page is not good enough. You need to have a absolute lead submission on every page. If you put it in the columns or side columns, that's probably good enough, but you need to have something on every page to convert a visitor to a lead. This can be just a simple form, or it can be an offer of a white paper on a particular topic. How to reduce, how to use a point of sale system to reduce labor cost. And then write a small 500, 750 word document that you can then have them download in exchange for their email. Next up, so working a little harder does pay off, and that is by pulling doors, doing cold calls. You know that the business is established, therefore they probably can be leased, or they probably have the money to pay for the system. You will get to see them in action. You can actually dine there. You can watch how their operation flows. Look for the obstacles in there. Look for the problems. Help them find the issues. I went to a restaurant recently and had the waiter or the waitress did not charge my wife and I for our soft beverages. That's a theft problem. So look for those type of things when you're dealing with or dining in a restaurant to help them correct those situations. If you're doing a cold call, you may be the only person in the sale. You may be the only one who's going to be looked at. They may not go someplace else. So just by doing the cold call itself, you may have eliminated your competition. 1 or 2 out of 10 generally turn into a sale. So you could have a 1 to 2 successes for every 10 doors you pull. That's worth pulling the doors. Working together does pay off, and that's in a leads group. Some of the best leads I've ever received were from a group of other salespeople that we got together once a week. We would get together for lunch. I would have in that group a beer vendor, a liquor vendor, linens vendor, trash vendor. All those type of vendors have to have, or the restaurant has to have those type services. So every one of those is generally included in the new restaurant opening. Form a leads group that meets on a regular basis, exchange leads, keep it going, and you will get some extremely good leads. You also can cover a larger area quicker by having a large group like that. It does pay off. You can then give or get detailed information. Even if you're not going after a new restaurant, you can say, I want to get into that restaurant over there. I want to sell them bad. Who do I need to talk to? And somebody in that group's going to know the owner, how they are to deal with, and when you can get a hold of them. Working smarter. That is actually going after the orphans. What this is going to require you to know what's called the itch cycle. That is, you've all had this. You've all had this itch, in that when you have a car and you're getting on a 5-year note, you're getting 4 years into it. Those car commercials start having meaning to you. You ignore them for the first 4 years. You just bought a car, but after a while, you start getting that itch to get a new car. That's the itch cycle that I'm talking about. Point of sale used to be 3 to 5 years. Every 3 to 5 years, the restaurant would get a new point of sale system. With the new systems out with the SaaS model that have included the upgrades in the software, the itch cycle has moved out. It's now 4 to 6 years. But nonetheless, the hardware is going to wear out. And in doing so, they're going to have to replace it. So you need to know that itch cycle in your business. What you're going to do then is make a list of those accounts that you know are going to come up for an upgrade. They're going to come up for the need to upgrade their hardware. For instance, after 3 years, the warranty is run out on that hardware, and that stuff's going to start breaking. So you need to be ready at 3 years, looking to exchange it after 4, that you can now accept that orphan and keep them in your basket instead of being your competition. You know the business is established, therefore they are probably going to be easily qualified, and they do have a need because that hardware is going to break. And in this case, you may be the only one in the sale. If you want to take away a customer from your competition, look for their orphans. So if you walk into a site and you see that they have your competition and they don't get discouraged, write down the information. You still get the name of the owner, the business, when they bought their system. If it's leased, when does the lease end, so that you know then when to go back to that site and look for an opportunity to adopt that orphan. In this case, the odds are really in your favor that you're going to get the sale if you go in and take care of that orphan. And then the least expensive option for leads is obviously referrals. That is the best that there are. You can get those every time you close a sale. You should get at least 1 to 3 referrals. Those have the highest percentage of success because you've already got a built-in reference. You may be the only one in the sale, and they're easy to obtain once you get in the habit. You can even make this part of the close, and I'll get into that when we study and learn how to do closing. But you can use getting referrals as part of your close. And if their customer says that they are demanding a discount, you can then come up with your rebuttal to that, is that, well, I might could do something along the lines of an extra day of training, but in return for that, I'm going to need at least 2 referrals from you. So do a quid pro quo. Give a discount, give an additional day of training, but in return, get them to commit to at least 1, 2, or 3 referrals. Finally, which one of these to use? Which one do you think you should use? And my answer is all of them. Use a mixture of these and don't rely on a single source. You should always have multiple sources of leads. Do the referrals, look for the orphans, have a leads group, still pull doors. All those things that you should be doing, do a mixture of those so that you're never without that first important key step, which is getting your leads for your funnel. And now let's take some questions and see what I can do.